The most frequently mentioned cause for anybody buying a Brompton has been the fold, and I'm making this video just letting you know that I did not buy my Brompton for the fold, and I don't think anybody should. The fold is not even a significant part of what the Brompton is or of its usefulness. Before I continue, make sure to check out my shopping page below, and I'm also putting links to everything I include in this video so you can do your own research. If you read my book, you will see an explanation of why I selected the Brompton and why I put it together the way I did. It's still the pocket rocket that has not been beaten by any human-powered upright bicycle, or even by an electric with the similar wheel size or something, at least no bigger than the 16.25 wheel size that you get with the Brompton. So in any case, this is the fold. Yes, it's very compact. In the 70s, when this bicycle came out, this was a big deal. Back then, consider if you're very young, maybe you've never lived in a time when there were no electrified skateboards and mono wheels and all of that stuff. Imagine that back then there was no electric way of getting around. There were no compact scooters, mono wheels, any of that thing. In fact, when I bought my Birdie in 2006, the dealer was showing me the electrics that were available, and the best range he could offer was maybe 2 to 3 miles on a charge from a compact skateboard or scooter or something like that. So we have come a long way. And today, if you just want to go around, I have mentioned the Unagi scooter before. I am endorsing the scooter on this channel, and this is the one lightweight, really elegant small scooter. I endorsed a number of the big ones, but this is a small one if you just want something really compact to run around with a maximum range of 20-25 miles on a single charge, maximum power of 1 kilowatt, which is a huge amount. You really don't need a folding bike. So the Brompton was originally made for getting around, folding it, keeping it under the desk, putting it in elevators, getting through revolving doors and that sort of thing. Now that we have these scooters, you really don't need that. This is a very elegant scooter. I'm putting a link below. Definitely check out the site. And if you're worried about maintenance, this scooter doesn't even need that, because you can just rent it, pay them $100 a month, and if anything goes wrong with the scooter, they will just send you a new one. So we now have all these amazing devices and services backing them up. So why would anybody buy a Brompton or any other folding bike for that matter if they just need something to get around with? A commuting bike. By the way, even people with the cars, the average American drives 29 miles in a day, which is actually something you could handle with the scooter. I understand that there are concerns about the weather and everything, but that's a concern with a bicycle as well. Now, if you're not using the bike for commuting, if you want a higher performance bike, then certainly the Birdie is a little bit bigger a fold, but it's going to give you a lot better performance. And I'm saying this because I've owned both of them. The Birdie has a bigger wheel. It can take 2-inch wide tires. It has an incomparable front suspension and the rear suspension that is at least a little bit better. On the new Birdie, you can see that this one is a bit wider because they were trying to include the full length of what you see here on the Brompton and also the folded part in the front in a single piece, so that there would be no break in the top tube. This no break in the top tube is a really good idea, but they have shortened it, and you can see that it is now a much more compact bike, and you don't even need this much of a fold. I mean, if your purpose is training, scenic rides, adventures, racing, getting fit, that sort of thing, you have a car or you're getting on the train or on the bus, you don't even necessarily have this much of a fold. You would be okay with a separable frame or a compactable frame, something like the LX Moulton or even the Bike Friday packet. You could do that as well. You can put them into a bag or Velcro them together and put them on the train, inside the bus. So there's a lot you can do with it. Now, there are some people who travel with the Brompton and they say that they need this extreme fold because they can put it into the luggage compartment of a plane. In my opinion, that's pretty low class because you are putting your oily, dirty stuff next to where people put their jackets and sweaters and personal items. It is really not an elegant way to travel, but that's just my view of it. And so the question is, why would anybody buy a Brompton? Why did I buy a Brompton? In fact, I gave up a birdie to get the Brompton. The most important reason why people consciously or unconsciously buy it is because the Brompton is no longer really a bicycle company. It is now a platform. It is like having Windows or Linux or some flavor of Unix or Apple as a platform. Now, Apple is not necessarily an open system, unlike Windows and Unix. Those would be a better comparison. You have a Windows motherboard, you can select a zillion different video cards and processors and memory pieces. And I have built several PCs, so I know. And this is just an example. There's an entire industry to back up the Brompton as a platform. And what you can see on these bikes is that even the extremities have been replaced. So what the Brompton means is really this part here and sizing so that you can fit stuff into it, because all these companies are making parts and upgrades that fit into the same system. And in fact, some companies even make the tube itself, the core of the bicycle. So theoretically, you could build a Brompton without buying a single Brompton part, and people have. And I have done some videos on the topic. But you know, telling people that you are buying the Brompton because of the fold is just not factual. We don't really need the fold. We are not living in the 70s and the 80s anymore. All of this stuff is custom stuff with some Brompton parts, especially the core of it. Everything else is custom. The stop tube and the steering column are from Brompton and nothing else is. Not the fork, not the rear, not the wheels, not the brakes. And this is just one company. Of course, I have talked about Kinetics on this channel before. I'm putting a link below. You definitely want to check them out. I'm not sure if you want to go to this extreme and set up a recumbent Brompton, but you don't have to. And then there is Electrification. You go to ebikes.ca, which is the green site. This is also included in my book, how I configured the electric kit and why I chose to do it the way I did it. But the bottom line is there is a Brompton kit right there. Do they have a birdie kit? Do they have a Moulton kit? They don't have anything. They have generic kits and they have something specific for Brompton. Now, one of the reasons for this is that Brompton has been selling in such volumes. It is so well known that there's actually a point for companies to make custom kits. And it has to be custom because a regular hub would not fit in the fork of a classic Brompton. It would fit into the new G line because that has a standard sized fork, but it would not fit anything else. And yet people are making a living making custom hubs that fit, and I describe all of this in the book. If you're interested in setting this up yourself, which I think you should consider, especially if you have a Brompton, you can tune this machine in a way you cannot tune most any bicycle that I know of. Not a small wheel bike. A diamond frame, yes, because those bikes are all running on everything standard, so there is an endless supply of upgrades that you can get. That's not the case with the small wheel market. You can get some upgrades for the birdie, but not nearly in the volume that you're getting it for the Brompton. And one reason for that is Brompton is currently selling a little over 90,000 units per year, and they have been experiencing a very slight growth, even though I think the economy is depressed. And it has been depressed for the last 5 years, really, ever since the lockdown. And yet sales are improving. We do not have any precise data about birdie and Moulton sales because those companies, they probably don't even sell enough to publish anything. So here's another one, Dino Kiddo. I bought some pieces from here. They actually do sell some flimsy stuff among very reliable and good quality product as well. I would say exercise caution before buying from anybody. Kinetics is tried and true, no question about it. And also H&H and a bunch of others that are big name suppliers of upgraded parts for the Brompton. So I was actually, I did my research for a year and a half before I bought the bike. And by the time I was ready to buy it, I had everything figured out. So I bought the bike together on the same day with the electric kit. And later on, I got some major upgrades. Like I have this upgrade for the suspension. It really made a huge difference. For the Moulton, you can't even buy such upgrades. Of course, the argument is that not only that it's a very tiny market, but you do not tune a Rolls-Royce, which is what the Moulton is in the bicycle world. But you could look at any of the other bikes that are popular. I mean, Tern and Dayhan are very popular. Nobody is supporting them with much of anything because they keep on deleting and making new model. They look in the computer. They are big mass-produced companies. They sell far more bikes than even the Brompton. And so it's nearly impossible to support them. But part of the genius of Andrew Ritchie, who set up this Brompton company, was the recognition that if he sticks to the same sizes and exercises extreme caution when modifying and updating his model, then there would be a support industry developing gradually because of that. And he was very careful to not harm this industry, unlike the current management, which seems to be desperate to basically destroy this little game that we have. So for example, right now the Bromptons that are made come with at least 4 different forks. There is the old steel fork, there's the G-Line's aluminum fork, there's a titanium model with a carbon fork. There's a steel titanium mixed model with a titanium fork. So now you have 4 forks, and there are different widths and sizes going with that as well. The way they fit into the headset is also different. So the current management is something I disagree with, but at this point it doesn't even matter. I mean, Brompton could go out of business and we could build and make Bromptons nevertheless, because it's no longer about the bike, it's no longer about the fold, it's about a system, a platform that Brompton has become.
I'll be back.